Welcome to Vivid Talk Live. I'm your host, Gwen Witherspoon. I am the Principal and Chief Visionary Officer of Adam Red and Atlanta Branding Agency. I'm a brand strategist and a Better Life Coach. Vivid Talk Live is all about your personal and professional development. I am here to help you learn a fresh way of thinking and doing for all you were designed to build. I am streaming live to Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, and then you can watch the stream from those channels and on my website at gwenwitherspoon.com. Replays are available there as well as on IGTV and Twitter. Now make sure you follow your favorite channels so you'll receive notifications when I go live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I woke up this morning with the word difficulty on my mind. Last week, I asked what would make your life better. I suggested 3 actions to take, and the last one was becoming. All day, I just kept thinking about the fact that embracing difficulty is work, and that reminds me of the works model, yet another brain hack to help you become to help you to become yourself. Make sure you introduce yourself in the comments and don't hesitate to ask questions. Say hi to Katrina and Ron. They're going to help me monitor the comments. Thank you so much for joining. Please share the link, invite your friends, and we're going to get right to it after this. So make sure you follow me on follow Gwen Fuchsius, GwenFucius on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and follow YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Gwen Witherspoon Coach. Woo! This has been a day. So you talk about difficulty. What's hilarious is like a few minutes before I'm scrambling through my house trying to go get my glasses because I'd left them sitting in another part of the house. Hilarious. Anyway, so glad to have you here tonight. Make sure you check out GwenWitherspoon.com. That's where you're going to find everything about me. And you'll also have the opportunity to check out all the replays, and you can see here we're streaming live there. There are links also to all the channels if you want to watch on one of those, and we have all the replay videos listed here as well. If you want to reach out to me, you can go to our contact form on the page, or you can post a comment, and even if I don't see it, somewhere between me, Ron, and Katrina, we will make sure we get your question answered. Woo! Now, listen, I don't know. I'm super excited about this topic, even though difficulty doesn't really feel like a fun thing to talk about. But I literally woke up thinking about the word, and it just as I just pondered it more and more and more, I thought about the fact that difficulty is inescapable. Hey, how's everybody? Difficulty is inescapable. That literally everywhere we turn, we really have opportunities to have it. And I thought about the word trouble, right? So difficulty, trouble, there's so many synonyms for the word difficulty, and trouble is one of them. And I thought about it. There are three types. I think trouble falls into three categories. One, it's personal. So there's some emotional stuff going on inside of us, personal development, personal identity, all those things. So those can cause us trouble. And then there's relationship trouble, right? How we relate to other people, how we relate in the world. We can have some trouble in those areas. And then also events like a pandemic, civil unrest, economic downfall. All of these things are trouble, right? But and every single one of those categories of difficulty, categories of trouble, all of those give us an opportunity really to grow. So I hate, as painful as the idea is, I was thinking about it too. Most of the time, most of us are looking for every way possible to not experience difficulty, to escape trouble. And then so the more I thought about that, I realized or the word work came to me, and I thought about it. Most of us don't really want to have to work too hard. Like if something is going to appear to be difficult up front, I think I don't really want to work that hard, right? And so it's easy for us to try to find the easy way. But what occurred to me, I was reminded of the word I mentioned back, I think on the very first Vivid Talk live episode. I talked about the Greek word. I said ergos, but it should have been ergon. So the word ergon, I think I'm pretty sure I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly, but the word ergon, I looked it up again, and it means, let's see here, it comes from a root word, the root word ergo, which means to work, also means to toil as an effort, And then it means, by implication, it's an act, right? And then it means also to labor. So again, work, right? But what I said in the very first episode is that it, by implication, kind of one of the meaning of that word is to become. So last week I asked you the question, what would make your life better? And uh, I shared like 3 basic actions that you needed to take to make your life better. And the last one was becoming. And I said, and I shared this, I quoted myself. So I said, let me show you this. I want to show you this graphic I created. So uh, you'll know that you are growing when your dream to have transforms into a vision to become, right? Most of the time, if I ask somebody what would make your life better, we start thinking of all the things we would like to have. And what we really want to do is think about, I think what we really want to do is commit to the journey, commit to the process of becoming, and which means we have to embrace difficulty. Whew, that kind of hurts for me to say it. I'm feeling some kind of way, but we have to embrace difficulty so that we have the opportunity to become everything that's possible. And so it made me think about this whole idea of work labor. Also, the work that we do really should be helping us. I wrote it down. It should be helping us to design our ideal life. Your work should help you design your ideal life. I mean, think about the work that you've done, just the jobs you've had. Is the is the is that job helping you? The work you're doing in that job, the tasks, the functions, the actions that you have to take day to day in that job, are those actions helping you to design the life that you want, the ideal life that you imagine? When I say what would make your life better, is the work you are doing helping to make your life better? That's the question we want to answer. And so a few episodes back, I talked about what I called my vision theory series. And I had started working on what I call the works model. And the works model is based on, well, the works model is it's my model for becoming. And it was in the works when I started doing the vision theory series. So I didn't include it in that, but we're going to go ahead and bundle that in the vision theory, because in the vision theory series, I want to help you again. This is another brain hack that's helping you figure out a way to embrace the concept of work, to embrace difficulty so that you can become. So I also talked about, let me go back to that. I talked about one of my favorite scriptures, which I think is really powerful when it comes to it. It really describes the task we have been given. Make a careful exploration. This is from the Message translation. Make a careful exploration of who you are. Remember, we started out in the Vivid Talk Live series talking about your personal identity. So you have to know who you are to build any brand, first and foremost. So that's what we're talking about, really, that your personal brand, your personal identity is the foundation of everything that you are doing. And so we are supposed to make a careful exploration of who we are and the work. Make a careful exploration of who you are and the work you have been given, and then sink yourself into that. So the works model comes out of that word there, work. And that word is ergon, the work that you have been given. And then, so the works model, which I don't know if we're going to get through the whole thing today or not, but again, I'm super excited. Every time I kind of get some clarity in my brain around how to approach a difficult subject, how to approach something that continues to make me stop, then I think, I just get excited because I feel like I've kind of cracked the code. I have a secret, right, that's going to help me kind of get over that hump. And that's really what we want to do. We want to learn how to how to just function in the middle of all the challenges that we face, and we all do. And remember, we talked about that. I said there's 3 different types of categories of trouble: personal, relational, and events. The things that are totally outside of your control. Clearly, relationships are not outside of outside of your control as well, except that they are a vital part of life. This pandemic is teaching us that we need each other. So even if you're an introvert and you really prefer to be by yourself, I would imagine that being forced to be inside, to be forced outside of your normal day-to-day activities would still, even for you, be a little bit challenging, because we all want to know that we matter. We all want to connect on a deep level with other people, even if it's just a few people or just one person. We still want to have those human connections and relationships. So those relationships, though, even the good ones can be a source of difficulty. And so we want to learn how to deal with that. So, and even your personal stuff. So we're going to get into that some other time. There's some inner work that we have to do to become, and that deals with that first category. But tonight, I want to go over the WORKS model. So I'm going to show you yet another graphic. So this is the WORKS model graphic. So WORKS, it stands for wisdom, operations, rest, knowledge, and skills. You know how you write something and you look back at it and you kind of marvel that it's something that you actually came up with yourself. And so I look at that and I'm going, wow, that's really good. But anyway, so wisdom, let's talk about it. So I often talk about what I call the wisdom gap. So if we talk about vision is something that's way out in front of you, and there is this deep chasm. Oftentimes, if the vision is big enough, there's a deep chasm between where you are right now and where you really want to be. So when we talk about what would make your life better, oftentimes we don't really want to face the answer to that question, because we feel like we're so far away and that it's insurmountable. Like there's no way, there's no bridge, there's no map, there's no way for us to get to where we really want to go. And but I call that the wisdom gap, because if it's something big enough, you don't know how to get there. So you don't have any wisdom that can really kind of lead you there step by step necessarily, or lead you there with clarity, so that you know from here that without a shadow of a doubt, I know exactly what to do to get there. And so because of that also causes some difficulty for us, right? That because we feel like every obstacle that comes, as we try to move towards it, as we try to close that gap, it feels like we'll never get there, because the obstacles seem like they're constantly coming from every direction. Even when you think you have a good strategy, then something like a pandemic jumps in and totally disrupts your idea, your confidence. And so what we want to do is you have to fill the wisdom gap. And so you're going to fill the wisdom gap really with work. That's the conclusion I came to today. It's the work that you do from where you are right now to where your vision is that fills that wisdom gap. But wisdom, I looked up every possible definition. I looked up Bible definitions. I looked up Webster's dictionary. I looked up dictionary.com. Looked up all these different versions and looked at everybody's opinion about what wisdom is and how they described it. And really what I came up with is that wisdom is insightful application of knowledge. It is judgment gained by experience. So if I want to work with somebody, I want to work with someone who has good judgment. And you may not necessarily know exactly how to do a specific task, but if you have good judgment when you're presented with information, you know how to make decisions, given all of the circumstances, and you're able to kind of look at it all. And every time, or the more experience you've had actually doing that, the more confident I feel in actually trusting your judgment, right? Even yourself. Like now I'm getting to the point, I told you when we started that the idea of doing Vivid Talk Live, though I wanted to do it and I've been planning for it, when it came time to do it, I was terrified. And so now I feel like I've gained a certain amount of wisdom and comfort in actually putting everything together, getting on camera and talking to you, getting through every possible technical difficulty. My camera is still gone. So now when I read from the teleprompter, you can see my eyes looking up. I left my glasses, all these things. So I'm learning now because I've had some experience. Now I'm learning just how to flow in the middle of that and still use and just use good judgment as to what I'm going to say. And most of the time, I really don't know what I'm going to say. I'm learning how to create an outline and start sharing from my heart and trusting that it's going to, it's going to come out well and that you're going to understand what it is I'm trying to communicate, or that I'm even just going to communicate exactly what you need to hear at the time rather than what I may think is important. So I think I'm learning the balance between being prepared and like totally lining everything up perfectly and trying to control exactly how everything comes out and how it all looks, to doing as much preparation as I can do without stifling, and without me trying to insert myself and say, this is exactly what needs to happen and what needs to be said. And what I'm learning is I can trust. I can trust my own judgment, and I can also trust that you're going to hear exactly what you need to hear, and it won't be hindered. I mean, my hope is that it's not hindered by what I think it should be, and that you really are getting what you need. And so, again, it goes back to learning how to trust your gut, trust your own. I mean, it literally. I got difficulty, works model. And then I had to go and pull out the works model because I was like, wait a minute, what was that? What did I write? And I kept thinking it was in a notebook, it was in this, was able to find it, and then just looked at my points. So what I'm saying is wisdom is learning how, learning it's insightful application of knowledge. So I know what a presentation is supposed to look like and what it's supposed to sound like. I have an idea because I'm obsessed with talk shows. So I have an idea of like how you format a show. And now it's like, okay, I know all those things. And then I have all of these factors in just trying to create a live show, using technology, applying it all by myself. Um, and then now I got to wing it, right, to a certain extent. So, but I've gotten comfortable with that, and I feel like I'm learning how to insightfully apply all the principles that I know and be okay with what the total outcome is and trusting my judgment in the middle of that. And I think we all have to get to the place, and that's a process, right? You just don't wake up one day and all of a sudden you have wisdom about whatever particular situation you're handling. But I've grown in my 57 years now. I feel like I've had enough experience, and so now, like, the age does teach wisdom. They talk about the gray hair; these gray hairs do mean something, because I feel like I've grown to the place now where I've been through enough. I've dealt with so many different things. Clearly, there's so much more for me to learn, but I've gone through enough that now I have this bank, this library of life knowledge and understanding, so that now I can apply it, and we all have it because we all have some lived experience, and wisdom is just being able to insightfully apply all the stuff you've learned to a particular situation. And so the next step, the next word in the acronym is operations. Not a sexy word at all. However, if if you don't have systems and processes designed um, and defined so that you can accomplish very basic tasks. In the quiz on the still on the homepage of my website, or on the top of every page, it asks you. One of the questions in there asks you, do you turn? Basically, I'm of course paraphrasing. Do you turn once you do something like more than once? Do you then turn that into some kind of system or process or automated process? And so that's about operations, right? If you have things that you have to do over and over and over, the smart way to do business is to figure out a way to automate that so that you don't have to spend your wheels doing the same thing over and over and over. Um, Operations really define the relationship or the experience that we have with any brand. I love Apple products. So, one of the things I love about dealing with Apple is not just the quality of the products, but I love how they deliver service. I love how they function. Another one I love is Warby Parker. People comment on my glasses all the time. Warby Parker they have got me for life because quick story. So I bought some glasses from my husband. I bought rims. We just bought the rims when we thought, okay, the frames. I'm sorry, I'm talking like a car. Glasses. We bought frames from Warby Parker, and we only paid for those. And we thought I needed progressive lenses, and he needed bifocal and all this. So we thought it would be cheaper to go to Walmart and get our lenses done and place inside of those frames. We did that, and maybe years, not even a year and a half later, I started getting these little puckles, like bubbles in my lenses that I'd gotten from Walmart. And it bothered me, but not enough to really say anything or go to Walmart about it. So, but I went into Warby Parker because I knew that they adjusted the frames. They would tighten them for you for free. So I was in Buckhead. I went through. I said, "Hey, can you adjust these for me?" And the gentleman that did the adjustment, he looked at the lenses and he said, "Oh, they're not supposed to do that. Do you mind if I send them in?" And I was like, "Oh, okay," right? And so it caught me so off guard that I had forgotten that we didn't buy the lenses from them, right? So I go home. He calls me back and he says, "I can't find your prescription in our system." And then I go, "Oh yeah, that's because I got the lenses at Walmart." And he says, "Oh, okay, well, send me the prescription and I'll go ahead and send them in." And I was like, "Wait, what?" First of all, he was sending them in under a warranty that had I bought the lenses from Warby Parker, would have been expired anyway. But he offers to send them in under warranty. Then he finds out that they didn't do the lenses. Like, the problem with the lenses is not even their issue. But he said, "Oh, no problem. I'll send them in anyway." So anyway, long story short is I ended up getting not a new pair of glasses, not just a new pair of glasses, but I had two. They let me keep the frames that I had. They gave me this whole new set of glasses. So it was like a $295 pair of glasses that I got for nothing because they just wanted to offer me great service. And so that's an example of operations. Like, how do you operate? How do you function? Learning how to function and create systems in your life that not only benefit you, but that benefit other people. That's part of your work. That's part of figuring out how you're going to function and show up in the earth. Your business, your brand in general. And then the next letter in the acronym is REST. I like this one. It kind of makes me sweat to think about rest. Isn't that wrong? Yeah, I'm getting hot. My nose is beating up when I say the word rest. But I used to have a lot of people say to me, I don't hear it as much, but y'all are probably thinking it. But I used to have people who would say, "Well, when do you rest?" And my answer was always pretty much, "I don't need any rest. I love what I'm doing. And I like it. I enjoy developing and creating and building and growing and learning and solving problems and making stuff up. That's something I've always enjoyed." And when I was younger, I literally could work 24 hours, 7 days a week. The idea of like laying down and taking a nap was totally off of my radar, not even on a list anywhere. I just liked it. And so to me, rest was like this foreign concept. And of course, as I've gotten older, I'm still super energetic, still can throw down. Like, I can outwork my children, right? My grandchildren, I can outwork a bunch of people. But I still now need to slow down, take a nap, rest, blah, 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 all of that. And I enjoy it. And then I have an amazing relationship with my husband. So I enjoy resting and just taking time with him, right? But what I learned one day, all of a sudden, I just got this revelation that rest is a celebration of creation. Rest is something that needs to be embedded. Now, you don't need a whole bunch of rest if you're not working, right? Sometimes I talked a little bit last week about comforting yourself. And sometimes we comfort ourselves by resting, vacationing. We can kind of get overtaken by seeking pleasure in a way that doesn't support our real deep down need to become, which is to overcome difficulty, to work, to expend energy, to make an effort, to get to the vision that we see way out there, to fill in that gigantic chasm of a wisdom gap. Like, we have a need to do that. And sometimes we can comfort ourselves by doing activities that kind of really lead us away from that. Then we don't really get to the thing we really want. It's easier to just kind of settle for where you are and what you see and what you know. Of course, that's comfortable because even if you're in a negative situation, you can say, well, at least, what do they say? The devil I know is better than the devil I don't know. And my thing is, I really don't want to know a devil. I don't want to know the devil. I want to step out into the unknown and trust that the positive future that I see, that it really is possible, that it's coming to me, and that every step I am making incremental progress, and that I'm going to get to the life that I believe I deserve, no matter what. And so rest. So I think rest is also about taking time to really get in touch with what's going on the inside. It's about shutting out the noise that's coming, all the voices that are coming from every possible direction. And I also talked about a concept that I use over and over, is the brainstorm. I think rest is about clearing your mind, clearing the brainstorm, giving yourself an opportunity to really even take inventory of the thought processes, take inventory of what you believe, to expose lies that you've been living on. I think it's not necessarily, I think you can almost live in a state of rest. And I think definitely there's a physical time that you need to set aside for resting your body, your mind, all of those. But at the same time, there's also a rest that you can experience, like as you spend more time becoming, and as you invest more of your work in in what you were designed to do. I asked, I think 2 weeks ago, what problem were you born to solve? And we talked about getting a revelation of that one thing, and that revelation is the vision kind of for your life. And I think as we learn to live our lives and spend our time and energy focused on that one thing we were born, that revelation that we were born, of what we were born to do, and to become. Once we live like that, I think then that is a state of rest. And to a certain extent, I kind of feel like that's where I am. I'm in this stage of rest. And so that does not mean I don't have obstacles, doesn't mean I don't have difficulty, doesn't mean I'm not subject to trouble. But what it means is that it's rest because there is a certain amount of ease. It's not like the word ergo. One of its meanings is toil. Ergon. One of the words is toil, and the Bible says something about not having anxious toil. Like, the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and addeth no sorrow with it. And then there's no anxious toil. That's another verse. I'm messing those up. But toil is effort. And so we don't have to work. Just because you're putting forth effort doesn't mean that's a negative thing. It doesn't have to be anxious. It doesn't have to be anxiety ridden when you are that's worry. What we're talking about is just expending energy to do something, to take action, to move toward the thing that you're believing for. It requires energy, but it has a much more positive source. So in that, it's possible to live your life at rest while you are working. Anyway, that was good to me. I don't know how you felt. How'd you feel about that? That felt good. So isn't that funny? I started out feeling a little anxiety when I said the word rest, and then I ended it at peace. Like I feel good about that. So the next word in the model is knowledge. Knowledge, and this is not in any specific order, but I think it's just a great way to think about this whole concept of work, and helping us to become everything that we were designed to be. And so knowledge comes by knowledge comes by research, by study, by observation. Like knowledge is the gathering of information, and think about it. When you Just because you have some information, like with all of the Facebook ads, like I don't know about you, but I see a lot of ads about coaching and marketing tips and all that, because that's what I do, right? So I get other people's programs and digital marketing. This is how you do that, and this is how you do that. And really, I'm one of those people that I'm a pretty quick study. So, like back in the day, I used to do temporary work, administrative stuff, because I've always been organized, and there was always a great way for me to make extra money. And what I found was I went to a temp service, and you know how they test you, or if you've ever been done anything like that, when you go, they make you take all these tests. And what I found was I could take the test, and by the time I finished like reading all the questions that they're asking about maybe how to use Microsoft Excel, even if I didn't really understand exactly how to do that, the information that I was gathering as I was reading the questions was teaching me, giving me information about how to actually do it, even though I really didn't know, right? So I was learning just by reading the questions. I was gathering information, and I was using that information to help me understand how to actually use that software, right? But just because I had the information and I started gaining an understanding after I kind of meditate on, review, kind of use that information, like I would go from temp service to temp service and take different tests, and every test I would gain more understanding, right? I would understand more about this is how you use this particular feature, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean I had the wisdom yet for how to actually apply what I had learned just taking those courses. I just had better. I always say I know enough to be dangerous, and so I can speak intelligently about it. But that didn't mean that I actually knew how to really use it and apply that in my day-to-day life. And so what I found too, I call myself a better life coach, and as a better life coach, what I want to do is help my clients, help entrepreneurs, help other folks like me who are out there building, trying to be the best versions of themselves so that they can fulfill the vision in their lives. I want to make sure that I am helping you to learn how to apply what it is you're learning. So one of the things that I'm doing too is we have Adam Red is the branding agency I mentioned when we started, and we have a extension brand called Spread Digital. And what I realized is Spread Digital is about us we're providing you with DIY tools to help you master your marketing. So Adam Red is for a full service agency. When you're starting out, you don't have the means. And even if you had the money, it may not necessarily be the best way to spend it to pay somebody full service to do what you need for your business, because you really aren't at the right stage to warrant that, or for that to really pay off for you financially. And so what we've done is we've curated a suite of DIY tools. Now you have access to tools all day long. You can you can read the support articles to figure out how to do it. You can watch the email tutorials they provide. You can watch YouTube videos to figure out how to use it. There's just so many different ways. You can ask somebody else's opinion. Hey, how do I do this? But when you get that information, that doesn't mean, and even when we curate our tools, we realize just having the tools and having some instruction around how to use the tool doesn't help you understand exactly how to use that and how to apply that information to your situation, right? That you can have knowledge, you can have understanding. Hey, you use this tool because you need to program your social media across multiple platforms. Yeah, I understand what it is. I understand what it's, how I'm, or what I'm supposed to do with it. But that does not mean I have the wisdom to know exactly how to use that to move myself forward, right? So we want to provide you with some coaching and some help and some support. The Vivid brands, this Vivid Talk Live, this is part of that as well. But um, my goal is to help you close that wisdom gap, and you need to get, I guess that's the coaching commercial, right? That we all really need some kind of help beyond just the information that we have. And you may have some knowledge about something, about a concept, but physically learning and then how to actually apply that, that's a whole nother situation. But knowledge is the first step, right? If you don't get the information, that's the other thing we talked about. I started kind of creating these brain hacks, this vision theory series, because I was running into the same challenges over and over. Get ready to write a business plan. Every time I came to a section of the plan, maybe the financials that I wasn't as comfortable with, that would make me stop, right? And so what I want to do is, you need help to kind of help you bridge that wisdom gap, fill it up so that you understand, you have the information, you have an understanding of what it is you're supposed to do with that, but then you get that wisdom, that extra boost, like that turbo boost, where you start understanding, this is how I actually apply this to the situation. So again, there's a number of ways to gain wisdom, right? That's where we started. You can it can be by experience, it can be with a person's advice. Typically what a coach really does is doesn't tell you what to do. Coach is really just helping you kind of come to understand what it is really going on inside of you, how to actually interpret that, and gain trust and confidence in that, right? So then the last step in the acronym, so I'm proud of myself, I'm going to actually finish it. So the last word in the acronym is skills. And I just thought of that with a Z. I don't know why that came to mind. Anyway, so skill is really, it's developed by training. So training is different from, like, you can get information, but training helps you to really use discipline to actually apply it, right? Apply the information, the knowledge you gain, apply the understanding that you gain. And we do that with practice. And it's also, we talked about before, you got to learn how to master your habits. And I mentioned that in our Flip Productivity System, we want to help you master your habits, and that's how you develop skill. Um, some of us are skilled. I'm skilled at Netflix, binging on Netflix. And I go in hard. I'm dedicated to that. I got a spot on my couch. I've got my head, a certain head dent in a pillow. I've gotten in. That's a habit I have gained. But I need to also, at a certain point, I can't allow that to overtake me. When I see it overtaking me, then now I got to get up and master the habit, or master the discipline of getting outside, getting some physical activity. Maybe master the habit of developing my own concepts, because I'm watching somebody, I'm buying into somebody else's vision. I'm seeing their success when I sit there and binge on YouTube and Netflix. But I need to be able to get out of that and develop the habit of developing my own, doing something different, right? If I want to get to that better life that I see ahead of me, then I've got to learn. I've got to put myself in training. I mentioned that before as well, and I have a book coming out soon. I'm not looking at Katrina. I have a book coming out soon, and it talks about inward training. really enlisting yourself in your own kind of personal boot camp, helping you really get control of your own inside world. And that requires training, right? Like, training is it's specific. It helps you gain a skill in a specific area. And so coaching is one thing, training is a whole nother. And all of that training helps you to apply all the knowledge, all the understanding, helps you apply wisdom and how to practice it. And once you do that over and over and over, you run drills, right? You create drills for yourself. I always say the best way to learn new software or learn some new anything is to have a real situation that you can practice on, right? You want to run through, you want to kind of create a drill for yourself. And the more you practice that, even public speaking, they say that public speaking is probably like the number one fear that most people have. And the way you get through that fear, that you um, that you practice, right? There was a gentleman, Peter Daniels. He's an Australian millionaire that came to my church years ago, and I love. There's so many things that he said that have stuck, that still stick with me. I'm sure I've quoted him before already, but one of the things he talked about was he would make sure that when he got ready to go speak, he talked about the depth of the fear he was in. He was so afraid to the point where literally he could not, like his bowels were actually impacted. So he would have to drink like some ridiculous pasty kind of thing just to keep his stomach and his gastrointestinal system to keep it, make it even possible for him to be able to stand up in front of people during the speech. He was so terrified. But what he had to do was he had to learn how to drill and how to practice what he was going to say and just prepare himself to the best of his ability and physically do something to help him just to break through and get through that fear. And so you may not have to do anything that drastic, but the bottom line is if we are going to break through difficulty, get through. Look, I looked up all these problems. These are synonyms for the difficulty: problems, complications, snags, trouble, distress, crisis, hardship, ouch, adversity, a need. If we are going to break through all of those forces, because all of those things come, it's about you, but at the same time, it's really not about you. Those things come to attack the problem that you were born to solve. Those things come to perpetuate the problem that you were born to solve. Those things come to stop you from being the solution to that problem. Those things stop you from fulfilling your assignment. Those things stop you from designing and living the life that you imagine. Those things stop you from just sucking it up and getting the work done. It's because that's what it's designed for. But we have to be, what does the Bible say? Be strong and very courageous. You have to be strong and courageous because there's going to be plenty for you to be fearful about. So the way to break through fear, the way to break through difficulty, the way to break through all the things that make you stop is to work, right? So that's the works model, and that's all I got. How was that? So listen, thank you so much for joining me. Remember, I'm gonna go. Let me see. Show you my website again. Remember that everything you need to know about Vivid Talk Live, about me and Vivid Talk Live, is at GwenWitherspoon.com. You can see the replays. You can watch live. You'll get the links to all the channels, and you can contact me at on this page as well. Also, make sure you visit GwenWitherspoon.com/subscribe and subscribe to my email list. So that way we can make sure that you get notified every time there's some change, some exciting development, and even so I can kind of provide you with some extra value as well. I am so excited that you joined me. Make sure you connect with us on social media at Gwen Fuchsias on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope, and on YouTube at Gwen Witherspoon Coach. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please make sure you share this broadcast with other folks, anybody else that you think that would benefit from anybody having an identity crisis. I know a bunch of people. So make sure you share it with them, and then be back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can't wait.